Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. session of the 2016 Open Simulator Community Conference. As a reminder to our in-world and web audience, you can view the full conference schedule at conference.opensimulator.org and tweet your questions or comments to @OpenSimCC with the hashtag OSCC16. This session, we're happy to introduce a terrific presentation called Applications for Expanding the Design Space. Our speaker today is Ramesh Ramllol. Ramesh is the lead designer of Mela, a rapid virtual world building company for diverse training applications. He has more than a decade experience in human-computer interfaces and VR applications research and development. Also, Ramesh is CEO and CTO of Deep Semaphore LLC, a simulations and e-learning company. Welcome all, and let's begin the session.
Hello there. I hope everyone is still standing up fine and not too tired. It's been a long day. At least for me, it's 5 o'clock here where I am. And I feel that my eyes are a little bit in pain, staring at the screen and interacting with all these, with so many people. I feel as tired as if I'm in a real world conference. Okay, so today, I'm just reading the chat and it's so funny. Okay, today, so I thought I would talk a little bit about expanding the application design space. What I mean by that, when I was writing the slides or sketching things out, I just wanted to transfer the idea that, we at least especially people who've, evolved from Second Life and moved into OpenSim, etc., we have a certain kind of mindset that evolved, just because primarily mediated by what's available, and then we try to make do with what is available to us and try to develop things. So what I've seen is most of the time, when we set out to design something in environments like Second Life or OpenSim, we try to adopt like a region-centric approach, and we have an idea or a theme in mind, and we just start, creating the whole environment. We have John sitting next to me, and he will also handle some of the questions that you have. So what I'll do is when I was thinking of this big picture issue, I had the impression that there's a lot of space there for toolkits that needs to reside on top of OpenSim as such that users could use in order to create applications, more easily, and that's what led us to work on what we call malleable link sets. And I've talked about this in the previous OpenSim conferences. Basically, we want people to be able to create, artifacts with specific functions, just primarily through direct manipulation of prims. And that can look like a lofty goal, but I think that we need such level of toolkits available that will allow people to use. So my intent here is just to show or illustrate a few examples of how we are using this I would call this upper layer technology to help us design our applications more quickly. In fact, the malleable link set, well, let me call it a kit, okay, allows us to create ResMila library objects like those I discussed this morning, you know, the Google Street View object, for example. It also allows to create, you know, configurable classrooms, for example, and many things like that. So, well, I wrote those slides a while back, and I'm just looking at them as if I'm looking at it for the first time. So, okay, so when I think of user-generated content, okay, I think of user-generated content at different levels. If someone writes a comment, that's user-generated content, and it has value. Okay, if someone is singing a song or streaming in, that also has value. It does not necessarily mean that you're actually designing an artifact that's being used. Okay, so that's why we are very enthusiastic or try to push forward the idea of zero programming application level toolkits. Okay. Yeah, so I've talked about this a little bit and just now, and we are going to illustrate a few examples where we can have, you know, a small space, and we can, through you know, an interesting use of the toolkit, repurpose the same space for more easily, and that's what we are going to see. And the best way to actually see what we are doing is, of course, to go in the sandbox and try our demos out. I mean, there's no substitute for that. You know, I can speak as long as I want, but you know, without trying it out, you won't probably get an accurate idea. So for this first example, I'm showing how we actually have like a room object that, by the way, in itself is also a ResMila object. I think that can be placed, you know, elsewhere as needed on a region. But let's keep that in the back of our head for now. Let's focus only on the room. So we have like a menu available to us, and we can actually select objects and just, you know, select a menu and place objects on the floor and rotate them, etc. And that allows us to, you know, deploy content for you know, for that space. And every content that we deploy can be saved as a file. So in this example, I'm just showing that in this room we have like 5 different functions. You know, we can have a notion of templates as well. So we have an art gallery template, for example. That's like a template for a whole art exhibit. So if anyone wants to have, like, you know, to deploy an art exhibit, you know, they should be, you know, able to create that on the fly just by loading a file for different artists, etc. very quickly. The other files that are listed here are basically describing different layouts of chairs and tables for different applications in the classroom. You can have layouts which are more useful for group work, you know, or others for you know, standalone independent work. So in the next slide, I'm talking about Webstickies. Just like you have a chair, which is like a menu object, you can pick it and place it. Webstickies are like web browsers. It's like really like a little web browsers with bookmarks, search functionality. And you know, it's really a full-fledged browser that you can just pick from the menu and place it anywhere in the room, you know, on the wall, on these vertical, you know, 2D screens, and basically you are creating, you know, your information space just through clicks and saving that setup, you know. And so in this case, you can see that in the back, you will notice that these are the squares. The white squares are just MOAP surfaces, and as I discussed earlier in the morning, we are limited to the number of MOAP pages to display. So when you go to the sandbox and try to see the various information, you'll find that once you come close to a particular section like those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, those 7 Webstickies on those C-shaped vertical panels, you will see those properly displayed. But I took this screenshot a little far back so that you can get to see all these MOAP screens. Okay. Yeah, so now I'm a bit closer. When you're closer, you can see, previously I've set these URLs. So if you are an art teacher and you want to have like an art exhibit, one day before your class, you can, you're trying to research a particular artist, you can just go and enter the URLs or just browse for a particular painting or object and save it as a URL. Well, not save it as a URL. You just like load these, keep those displayed the way you want your students to see them. And then you just go to the computer in the corner of the room and save the whole setup. And you can delete the whole setup. The next morning, the students are in, you just load the whole exhibit. Okay, so it's going to appear. All right, and we have other functionalities for this type of infrastructure, and I actually use it for my office. So instead of pictures, I'll have like Word documents, Excel files, Trello sheets, and all those things that's needed in a small business application. Or for entertainment, I just walk in a room with all my URLs already preloaded. I just walk around and look for the information I need. So there's also like you get motivated to study, whether you, how this application can be used for tasks. Really, I want to make it possible for people to want to get into the virtual environment for things that they cannot, do as easily, on a desktop. And I see a lot of avenues for having a virtual office inside that you want to to have, so that you go in, your peers can see what you're looking at, etc. So the next slide just shows an example of another setup that was created before and loaded, and that's just a classroom example, and nothing too fancy. Again, just to show the diverse applications that you can build with this upper layer, the malleable link set layer. You can create, in this case, if you want people like to create like a micro garden or a bouquet, etc. You can have like students have each like this setup around them, and they get to create various small landscape and learn about balance and gardening and all that stuff. Nice stuff. And let's look at the next example. There is a garden palette example in the demo section in the sandbox as well. And we'll try to do our best to be there to illustrate. Okay, I think probably, yeah. I've been a good boy, okay? So I finished early. So if you have any questions, you can ask them. And I'm really, really tired today. For some reason, I've been watching this screen. And that's something else I need to factor in my designs, future designs, because you want environments to be used in a very happy way. I mean, no point designing stuff if you have a headache trying to use it. So maybe that's something we all have to consider when we design all these applications. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ramesh. And I'll go through the rest of this closing, but it sounds like there's a little bit of time for questions.
Sure, I'll be around.
As a reminder to our audience, you can see what's coming up on the conference schedule at conference.opensimulator.org. Following this session, we'll have a break. Wherever you may be in the physical world, we'll all resume at 3 o'clock, and the panel at that time will be virtual reality and virtual world platforms. Also, we encourage you to visit the Poster Expo in Expo Region 3. And as Ramesh suggested, definitely go to the Sandbox region to check out his build and his holodecks. Also, there's Hypergrid tour resources in Expo Region 2, and then, of course, sponsor and crowdfunder booths located throughout all of the OSCC Expo regions. Again, thank you, Ramesh and John, for your question answering. And Ramesh, it looks like you've got a few minutes if you want to take a few questions.
Sure. I really encourage people to visit our booth and subscribe to our G Plus page or Twitter, page. We'll try to update, and we will update, and let you guys be informed of things that's going, products that are going to be released, and feel free to let us know, the kind of, we are going to try and see what's the best way to make the things we built available, and we'll have an open discussions, how to make this happen. Let's see here.
You saw that, Ramesh. What's the Twitter handle for Ramllol?
I'm just going to find it. Okay, so here it is. It's in chat, and I'm going to give you the G Plus one as well, since you guys are already here listening. Yeah, so like us, like they say on YouTube, okay? Oh, there's no Facebook one too. Okay. Oh, I don't even know it. Okay, here it is. Yes, we will keep the conversation open, especially regarding, monetization and costs, etc. We don't want anyone not to be able to afford the things we produce, so that's why we want to have a discussion. Tony, when can we get our hands on some code? Which code are you talking about for the malleable link set, you mean? The toolkit? If we release the toolkit, it will be like the toolkit. Thanks, Graham. I really need some rest, really. Okay, thank you. Well, whether it's open source or not depends on my other sources of funding. What I do is really spend a lot of time raising funding. The more money as I'm able to raise, the greater the chance that everything can be pushed out at can be made, more easily available. Yeah.
Sounds
So,
good. Ramesh, thank you again. I think we're ready to close now. And Ramesh is going to be, anybody who has any more questions can rendezvous with him later today or tomorrow in the sandbox.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.